Today, we are celebrating the 1-year anniversary of the Ultra Healthy Video Game Nerd channel! Woo! Yes! Oh yeah! It's been a long journey. I didn't know if I was going to make it a whole year, but here we are. For those of you who have never seen my first video, it was an unboxing of a complete copy of Gimmick for the Famicom. At that time, I had no idea what I was doing, obviously. I gave no thought to lighting, sound, no script, nothing like that. It was totally winged. And you might cringe a little bit. If you see it, I don't think it's that cringeworthy. But it was the beginning. I got that game just around the time I decided I wanted to start doing videos. And here we are at 1 year. It's been a very eventful year, for me at least. I got into a lot of really interesting gaming topics, and there's still a lot more stuff that I would like to talk about. A lot more really interesting games that I think should be reviewed. So I do hope to keep the momentum going and keep delivering great gaming content. And today I would like to take a look back at my videos thus far and choose my 3 favorite Ultra Healthy Video Game Nerd episodes. So that's what we're going to be looking at in this episode today. Coming in at number 3 is the worst sequel ever, Sparkster for the Sega Genesis. I really had a fun time doing this video because it's fun to talk about things that you hate, and I can't stand Sparkster. But the real reason why I enjoy this video so much is because I think it's really useful to the gaming community. I wish other people had talked about those things before I went and bought Sparkster. I know that I have read other people's comments saying that they don't like it as much as Rocket Knight Adventures, but I don't think there's anything out there that really just hits the points. Specifically, this part, and this part are not fun because this, and this. That's why I wanted to do this channel to begin with, is because I think it's good to have that kind of information out there for people who buy physical games, physical copies of games still. So if that episode saves anybody from spending $150 or $200 on that game, then I will feel like my work is complete. Coming in at number 2 is Money Idol Exchanger for the PlayStation. So this episode was just a full-on review of a puzzle game called Money Idol Exchanger that very few people really have gotten a chance to know. If you haven't heard of this game still, please do go ahead and check out that video. Just briefly is okay, so you can understand what kind of game it is. It was a puzzle game in the arcade. It was ported to the PlayStation 1. It's a genius idea about putting coins together. Super intuitive, really, really deep. It's a blast. And the character design and the graphical design of the game overall are really, really fun also. And the reason I like the episode so much is, first of all, I feel like it did a very good job of very just clearly explaining the game system well. It's something not a lot of people have had a chance probably to experience yet. And also I felt like it led into why the game was so special, that it's not just the game system, it's not just the graphics, but how they work together. And it was just done in a really clean way. I really felt like or I was just really satisfied with the way it came out. And I love that thumbnail. The thumbnail is just hilarious. I had a fun time taking it, and that is probably my favorite thumbnail that I've done yet. Number 1 is, of course, Magical Adventures with Saki in Doodoo-ville. That was the best episode I've ever got to do. Did that ever happen? And the real number 1 best Ultra Healthy Video Game Nerd episode is Whatever Happened to Quintet, the reviews of Planet Laika and Brightest. This episode was about a game company called Quintet. They made some classic games that we loved in the 16-bit era: ActRaiser, Soul Blazer, Illusion of Gaia, Terranigma. We didn't get that in America though. And, you know, I loved their games so much. I started wondering, well, they must have had some more after that. And it was kind of about how I got into their games on the PlayStation 1 and found that sort of some of their last games, some of their final masterpieces, were never translated into English. And that episode actually has full-on deep looks into 2 different games, into both Planet Laika and Brightest. And I quickly discovered that there's no way I can do that much work per episode if I'm going to keep a 1 episode per week. schedule going. It's just way too much work to look fully in detail at 2 games on one episode. It was actually a lot more work than a lot of my other episodes. I didn't do any, kind of technical tricks or anything like that. It was just, a lot of detail about 2 completely different games. But they are really special games, and I do hope that anybody, who had a fun time playing ActRaiser or Soul Blazer, back when they had a Super Nintendo, to go watch that episode and find out about some of Quintet's later games, because they're really good. Actually, Brightest might even be their second best game, in my personal opinion. So I feel like that episode is worthwhile for the gaming community at large, I think, which is why I like it so much. Obviously, the most noticeable or the most noticed videos that I've put up are the videos about Hong Kong 97. Yeah, a few months or about half a year after I started doing the channel, I ended up winning Hong Kong 97 on an auction. And, I put up videos about, dude, look, I found it. And in the beginning, nobody believed it. Everybody thought I just freaking made it on my printer, that it was total bullshit. And eventually I proved that it was indeed a real copy. And it is, more or less one of the only ones anyone knows about. So those videos, get thousands of views. My other ones get like 50, barely. Just the way things go. So obviously, those videos are, it's really amazing to be able to see a real physical copy of Hong Kong 97. On the other hand, as far as gameplay or discovering some amazing game, it offers nothing, because we already know what a bad game Hong Kong 97 is. It's just something that's really interesting for gaming history. But I don't want it to be, representative of this channel, because it's amazing that I have Hong Kong 97, but this channel I want to make primarily about good games, great games. Hong Kong 97 is not a great game. So to wrap up, thank you very much to everybody who watches these videos and who gets something out of them. These videos are generally about games that have very, very little coverage. A lot of them were, Japan only, or have just really been looked over. So you're not going to get a lot of search hits for them, because people don't know to go in and search Kitchen Panic PlayStation, right? So that video is not necessarily going to get as many views as a video that's about Symphony of the Night or Final Fantasy or something popular. But, if you love old games, classic games, and obscure games, I really truly believe that there is a value to making these videos, because it's giving the gaming community information that is very hard to get, or that may not exist in English anywhere else. So despite the fact that it is a lot more work keeping up a YouTube channel than I was expecting, I do feel like it's worthwhile. It's about something that I love. So thank you very much, everybody who watches these videos, and especially the people who say, whoa, I didn't know anything about this, I need to check this out. That makes my day. That's why I do this. So thank you very much, and please do keep watching, because there's a lot more really interesting stuff out there that really hasn't been talked about. I started doing this channel because sometimes you start feeling like I already know about all the great games. We have so much information with the internet, with YouTube especially. But I'm telling you, there are some really, really interesting, fascinating games out there that have not been discovered yet. I mean, there are great 2D platformers that still hardly anybody knows about. So I'm going to keep covering those and try to get the word out to the rest of the gamers out there that these great games exist. Give them a chance if you get to. That is all for this episode about the 1-year anniversary of the Ultra Healthy Video Game Nerd channel. Thanks a lot for watching, and I hope to see you in the next episode.